Now that we have established a clear definition of information and a better understanding of the direct and indirect costs associated with the creation and availability of information, let's switch gears and discuss some approaches to locating credible information. Not only information you'll need to address your course requirements, but also information that will be helpful to you as you participate in student clubs and organizations, as well as internships and other job readiness activities like career fairs and mock interviews. As a new college student, it is likely that you have many questions about the university experience. This course, B-Core 191, will help you better navigate West Virginia University by pointing out the best resources and practices so that you can have a successful first year at the university. In this short module, we will talk about the kinds of information you will likely need to locate as a college student, and secondly, how the WVU Libraries can help you along the way. The WVU Libraries is just one of many campus resources that you have at your disposal. Don't write it off as just a big building on campus that houses a bunch of books. WVU Libraries encompasses 7 libraries, including the library here on the downtown campus, as well as one at the Evansdale campus and more specialized libraries like law and health sciences. Each of these libraries offers some pretty amazing services, spaces, and technology, including group study rooms and presentation practice rooms, poster printing services, Creative Cloud software, an assortment of research databases, multimedia equipment, and your very own information specialist, me, Jessica Vanderhoff, the WVU Library's Business and Economics Librarian. For this module, let's talk briefly about your current and future information needs. What do I mean when I say information need? Information need is the desire to locate and obtain information to satisfy a conscious or unconscious need. This could be for personal, recreational, or academic purposes. With the internet, you have access to an overwhelming amount of information, which seemingly fulfills most of your information needs. Did you notice or hear that I said seemingly fulfills most of your information needs? When you conduct a Google search, or any search for that matter, do you take the time to consider who has authored or sponsored the website or content you're looking at? What was their motivation for creating the content? Who is the target audience? Is the content well researched and factual, or mainly opinions and viewpoints? Lastly, how current is the information? When examining any piece of information, you should always be asking yourself these questions. They should guide you in your search for credible information. And if you are unable to answer one or more of these questions, take a moment and ask yourself why. Is the information intentionally omitted? Are they trying to sell you a product, service, or perhaps a certain point of view? It's okay if they are, but you should be cognizant of their bottom line. Let's put this into context. Let's think about how you currently use YouTube to satisfy your information needs. Some obvious ways jump to mind: to watch a music video, a movie trailer, or football highlights from last season. Next, consider how you may use YouTube as a student. For academic purposes, you may choose to embed a YouTube clip into a class presentation, or look up tutorials on how to use various functions in Microsoft Excel. As a member of Delta Sigma Pi, B&E's professional fraternity organized to foster the study of business in universities, you may choose to put together a recruitment video to increase membership among other B&E students. Or you may choose to present your latest innovation at one of WVU's Launch Lab competitions and use YouTube to stream your product pitch. In short, it sounds like one resource, YouTube, fulfills many of your information needs: personal, recreational, and academic. In many of the scenarios I ran through, you are the audience, that is the end user, who is viewing content created by someone else. However, YouTube also gives you the ability to be the creator of content. That recruitment video for Delta Sigma Pi, or your pitch video for the Launch Lab competition. Think back to the earlier slide on evaluating information. When viewing YouTube content, just like with any other source of information, take a moment to consider who is creating the content. What is their motivation for creating the content? I mean, a lot of what YouTube has to offer is strictly for entertainment purposes. It is humorous or satirical in nature. But when you shift gears and use YouTube content for academic purposes, you need to evaluate how credible the information is before you can rely on it. This holds true for any information you depend on to make decisions, small and large, decisions for yourself, your coursework, or for your prospective employer. Furthermore, as a business student, your professor may ask you to research the company itself. YouTube is owned by Google, otherwise known as Alphabet Incorporated. Questions that you may need to answer include: if YouTube video content is free to watch, how does the company generate revenue? How do users monetize their video content? What advertisements receive the most views? What are the most watched YouTube channels or videos? Who is the average YouTube user? We're not going to answer all of these questions today, but you're probably thinking to yourself that a Google search will likely answer most of these questions. But having conducted numerous Google searches before, how many search results do you think you would retrieve trying to answer these questions? Conducting a quick Google search for YouTube and typical user, I retrieve upwards of 71.2 million possible results. We're not going to answer all of these. Chiquita, an advertising firm based in Westborough, Massachusetts, studies the impact of Google search result positioning. In other words, how likely are you to click on a result based on its location within the search results, on the first page, second page, and so on. A study from 2013 reported that sites listed on the first Google search results page generated 92% of all traffic from an average search. Generally speaking, this means that you are very unlikely to even look at page 2 of results of a search that retrieved millions of results. With that said, what is the likelihood that page 1 of an open web search is offering you the most credible, comprehensive, and up-to-date information? The message that I want to convey here is that I'm not trying to discourage you from using the open web. Search engines like Google and websites like Wikipedia are wonderful tools that should never be discounted in the research process. But understand that there are limitations to these resources that are not always obvious. Rather, I want to encourage you to spend time evaluating the information you retrieve from the open web, and secondly, to supplement your web searches with library resources. I'm going to spare you a detailed walkthrough of the WVU Library's website, since it's unlikely that you'll remember all of the minor details. Instead, I want to highlight 3 features that the WVU Libraries has to offer, so that when the time comes and you do need assistance with locating information, you have a strategy in place to get the help that you need. So let's dive in and tackle our first question. Where should I start my search? While a Google search or a Wikipedia entry are a good place to get a better grasp on an unfamiliar topic, they shouldn't be your only source of information. In addition to your initial web searches, you'll also want to check out the WVU Library's research guides. Research or subject guides are web pages tailored to a specific subject area. We have guides for all major subject areas offered at WVU, as well as some guides which are created for specific courses like B-Core 299. The guides identify key resources for a particular subject area, including research databases, citation guides, and most importantly, the WVU librarian who has expertise in that discipline. As a business student, you should become familiar with the Business Research Guide. You ask, what is the benefit to using a research guide over the library's homepage? The WVU Library subscribes to hundreds of databases and purchases thousands of books and periodicals each year. Since the research guide focuses on a single subject area rather than the entire library collection, the research guides save you time and the stress of weeding through information that may not be relevant to your particular information need. How do you know which subject guide or research guide to refer to? Well, that depends on the question or project you are working on. It's safe to assume that the Business Research Guide will address most of your questions that you have as a B&E student, but you'll need to take a look at the humanities, science, and social science research guides as you fulfill your general education foundation courses. You can access the research guides by navigating to the research guide links from the WVU Library's homepage. Recognize that there are multiple options under the subject business, some related to courses and others on specific subject areas like marketing. Always start with the general business option. One database that I find particularly helpful for all students is called Statista. Statista is an easy-to-use portal to locate statistics and infographics. A look at these results for YouTube. Now take a moment to pause the video and navigate to the WVU Library's Business Research Guide. Explore the guide's table of contents along the left side. What sections do you think you could benefit from? Next question. How can I get help locating information? So, I assume that you have already checked out the research guide, and perhaps you still feel stuck or overwhelmed with the amount of information you have access to. No worries, the libraries are here to help. From the Business Research Guide or the WVU Library's homepage, you can request additional assistance. Let's look at the Business Research Guide first. Navigate down to the Get Help tab. From this screen, you can see that you can chat with a librarian using the Ask a Librarian instant message feature. You can come down further on the page and email me directly. From here, you can also see my office telephone number and my office location at the downtown campus library. If you do send me an email message, please provide some details. Start by introducing yourself. Include a description of your project, the class the project is for, and what aspects of the project you need assistance with. Assistance from the WVU Library's homepage. Navigate down to the Library Services section. Locate the Research Help box. From here, you can access the Ask a Librarian chat service. Locate our telephone numbers and send us a request by email. To summarize, there are many different ways you can request assistance, but you need to contact us. So let's go through the list one more time. Using the Business Research Guide, you can select the Get Help tab. You can instant message us using the Ask a Librarian chat service. You can email me directly at jessica.vanderhoff@mail.wvu.edu. You can visit me at the Downtown Campus Library, or from the library homepage, you can select the Research Help box. The last thing I want to spend a minute discussing is the actual physical library building. What else do you need to know about the Downtown Campus Library? By the time midterms roll around, or you are faced with looming deadlines for final projects, you may want to use the library as your go-to place. We offer spaces that accommodate group meetings or just some me time for peace and quiet away from your dorm or the mountain layer. Like I said earlier, we provide some great technology, including software, multimedia equipment, and poster printing, but we also have some great spaces. From the WVU Library's homepage, you can reserve a study room or the practice presentation room, where you and your team members can practice and record an upcoming class presentation, student club recruitment video, or a launch lab pitch. Simply go to the room reservation tab. You can review the reservation policies here, or you can search for open study rooms or the practice presentation room by navigating through the calendar. And if you are in need of some real quiet time away from all of the distractions of everyday life, you can access our deep quiet zone in the Robinson and Milano reading rooms on the 3rd floor of the WISE building. You can access these rooms through the 2nd floor atrium of the Downtown Campus Library. To sum up, the objective of this conversation was to shed light on how you should approach locating credible information. Search engines like Google and websites like Wikipedia are wonderful tools that should be utilized in the research process, but always used with caution and always supplemented by additional sources. When you incorporate information gleaned from outside sources, no matter the form, video, text, or images, into your coursework, you will need to identify those sources by way of a citation and a reference list. This lets your reader, specifically your faculty member, better understand where you obtained the source and who created or authored the source. And secondly, determine how trustworthy the information is. If you are second-guessing the credibility of a source, you should seek out the guidance of a faculty member or librarian to help you determine the integrity of the information. The same evaluation process holds true in a business setting. You would never want to intentionally or unintentionally present work to your employer or client that is based off of untrustworthy information or unreliable data. Starting to question the credibility of information that you use as a student will better prepare you for success in the workplace. This now wraps up the video for Module 2, Approaches to Locating Credible Information. Again, my name is Jessica Vanderhoff, and I am the Business and Economics Librarian at West Virginia University. My email address is located at the bottom of this slide. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Once you have completed both tutorials, please move on and take the quiz for Module 2.